Hello and welcome to the show. And we have an interesting video from Ace Nate.
A man has been found guilty of being male because the victim was not old enough to make her own decisions. She was only 33. Clymer, charged with leaving girlfriend to freeze to death, blames her for telling him to go.
The trial has begun for a man accused of leaving his girlfriend to freeze to death on an Austrian mountain. The 36-year-old man, named in local media as Thomas P., is accused of having left his 33-year-old girlfriend, Kirsten G., alone as he went to seek help on Austria's tallest mountain, Großglockner.
So, 33-year-old woman wanted to climb a big mountain, wasn't forced, and then reached a point where she couldn't continue. What else?
This eerie webcam footage appears to show Thomas descending the mountain in the early hours of January 19th, 2025. Thomas is facing a charge of grossly negligent homicide, with state prosecutors accusing him of making multiple errors, including seeking help too late and not carrying suitable equipment.
So note to self, don't climb tall mountains with women. Their lower stamina will catch up, feminism will leave everyone's body, and then I'll be arrested and charged if I don't pull off a rescue mission worthy of a movie.
Well, Nate, I think you're a little bit jumping the gun, but the guy is charged with homicide, meaning the lady died, but in the same time, they're saying that he was seeking help. How was he supposed to seek help with a dead body attached to him? Or am I missing some kind of information here? Let's check this.
He denies any wrongdoing and believes his girlfriend's death is, quote, a tragic accident, according to his lawyer. After reaching the final point of their planned hike on the afternoon of January the 18th, the defendant says the couple were both aware that this was the point of no return before reaching the summit and agreed to continue.
Both aware and both agreed to continue. Don't care. Arrest the man for trafficking her up the mountain through manipulation and scrambling the female mind with his supernatural persuasion powers perpetrated by the patriarchy.
Wait, this can't be real. There has to be some kind of proof of the guy planning for this to happen. Or, like, if you plan like a hike to the mountain or climbing and you're not taking like the full gear, and meaning you have to be some kind of super genius to calculate this kind of thing that the lady's not going to make it. At the same time, not him doing anything. I'm very confused. There has to be some kind of proof for them to take this guy to the court, right?
Weather conditions then deteriorated, with strong winds and dropping temperatures as low as minus 20 degrees Celsius, and Kirsten could no longer continue.
Yeah, that absolutely can happen when you exercise autonomy and choose to climb Austria's tallest mountain in January.
Prosecutors say when Thomas left for help around 2 a.m., Kirsten was, quote, unprotected, exhausted, and hypothermic. About 50 meters, 164 feet below the summit, where she ultimately froze to death. There are conflicting accounts about Thomas's call for help, but prosecutors argue that he failed to notify emergency services until it was too late.
This case is wild. They're essentially charging this guy for not dying with her. Yeah, his attempted rescue mission just simply wasn't enough to please the people looking at the situation with perfect hindsight vision, and then also a normal body temperature. Prosecutors have blamed the boyfriend for Gertner's death, arguing he should have been more prepared for the trek. Since the defendant, unlike his girlfriend, was already very experienced with alpine high-altitude tours and had planned the tour, he was to be considered the responsible guide of the tour. Despite the woman's inexperience, as she had never undertaken an alpine high-altitude tour of this length, difficulty, and altitude, and despite the challenging winter conditions, the defendant undertook the alpine high-altitude tour to the Großglockner via the Stuttgart with her in winter, prosecutors said. Clearly, we see the prosecutor's strategy. Lean into the helpless, naive woman angle. Well, Kristen's mother didn't seem to appreciate that baseless narrative. In a dramatic twist on the eve of the trial, Kirsten's mom publicly backed him, blasting what she called a witch hunt. She said, "It makes me angry that Kirsten is being portrayed as a naive little thing who let herself be dragged up the mountain. And I think it's unfair how Kirsten's boyfriend is being treated. There's a witch hunt against him in the media and online." A witch hunt indeed, and the driving force behind it, Schrodinger's feminism. A woman is simultaneously a victim and empowered until something happens. Then she chooses which state benefits her the most. Her mother doesn't want people to see her as a naive victim, but prosecutors and women on the sidelines say, yeah, that's not going to work for us. We need a victim here. Her mom continues, she insisted the couple always chose routes together and prosecutors were wrong to treat him as a responsible guide. Quote, "The two of them always made their decisions together. If Kirsten disagreed, they didn't go on a mountain tour, or her boyfriend went on it alone. Therefore, he didn't deserve to be held responsible as a guide. But one thing is certain for me, my daughter's death was the result of a tragic chain of unfortunate circumstances. I don't want to blame my daughter's boyfriend for it." So she wasn't green to this, and she wasn't a passenger. She was a co-orchestrator in the selection, planning, and preparation. It would have been great if he could have saved her, but he shouldn't be punished for not being able to. Doesn't matter. An amateur climber has been found guilty of gross negligent manslaughter after his girlfriend froze to death on Austria's highest mountain. The 37-year-old man, named Thomas P., was given a 5-month suspended sentence and fined 9,400 euros over the death of his girlfriend. Prosecutors claim Thomas should be regarded as the responsible guide because he, unlike his girlfriend, was already highly experienced with alpine high-altitude tours and had planned the tour. They accused him of several errors, including starting the climb too late in the day, not making an emergency call before nightfall, and allowing her to use unsuitable equipment. His defense lawyer argued that all the accusations were unfounded and denied the defendant had a de facto leadership role during the climb. Thomas, who pled not guilty, told the court he was terribly sorry. He said that the couple had made all their decisions together and had planned the climbs together, claiming his girlfriend's mountaineering knowledge was not far short of his own. Prosecution alleged that although the couple were unable to continue their journey from approximately 8:50 p.m., Thomas did not make an emergency call and also did not give any distress signals when a police helicopter flew over around 2 hours later. He argued himself he had no formal alpine training and said Guttner had about as much knowledge of mountain climbing as he did. She had been in good condition when a police helicopter flew by hours before he abandoned her before her condition suddenly deteriorated rapidly, he said. At around 2 a.m., the defendant left his girlfriend exposed to strong winds without wrapping her in an emergency blanket or bivouac bag, which she had in her backpack, in an attempt to go and get help from a shelter on the mountain. When asked why this was the case, he told the court the situation had been particularly stressful. After calling mountain police at around 3:30 a.m., a search was not triggered as the man did not make it clear the couple needed rescuing, and he failed to answer calls or WhatsApp messages asking if they needed help. The defendant said his phone had been in airplane mode to save battery. During questioning, he claimed he was already suffering from hypothermia and exhaustion and had secured Kirsten G to a rock with a sling before climbing on to get help. He said when he turned back to lie down next to her, she had told him to "go now, go," which he claimed had saved his life. Little did he know, if he failed to rescue her, they would do their best to smear his reputation and crucify and prosecute him.
At this point, I'm really thinking like rest in peace, Kerstin, probably in European language, but like it looked from the information from this video and from the information from the lady's mom that they had a happy relationship. There seems to be, they were living together and they were planning together, they were hiking together, they both were doing things that they love together. That's a happy relationship. And imagine going one of those trips with your girlfriend and her never coming back, and you have to leave her on top of the mountain in this kind of circumstances. Holy moly, it's very difficult to imagine and putting ourselves in that guy's shoes, and I don't think not many of us can actually put themselves in this guy's shoes. Only only people who have experienced this kind of thing can do it. And imagine what he's going through, and basically the government is not helping him. They are kind of putting him even more down. Like, why didn't you die with her together? Because if you would have died together, there were no talks about this kind of stuff. Oh, it just makes me unbelievably sad right now.
During the trial, prosecutors called the defendant's ex-girlfriend as a witness. She said they too had climbed Grossglockner in 2023 and said after an argument over the route, he left her alone at night, crying as her headlamp ran out of battery. It's a good find by the prosecutors. The scornful ex-girlfriend recalling events she was completely innocent in to character assassinate the man. Either way, it's not illegal what his ex brought forward. It's just more evidence he should stop going on mountain climbs with women.
People go out into into the woods, into the backcountry, climbing mountains all the time, and sometimes they are ill-equipped. It happens, certainly. I'm wondering what this could possibly mean for the greater climbing community.
Certainly, it might cause people to think twice all over the world.
If this were two men together and one didn't come back, there would be no charges, just questions about why that guy thought he could do it and how he should have known his limits. Questions, not charges, which should have been the case here, but wasn't. And on that, they forgot to add to his charges failure to understand responsibility for the 33-year-old woman zealous to summit the mountain. His lawyer said the couple had planned the tour together. Both considered themselves to be sufficiently experienced, adequately prepared, and well-equipped. Both had relevant alpine experience and were in very good physical condition. Kirsten G. died alone in the snow on the frozen mountainside. Her social media feed suggests she was a keen mountaineer, and her mother had told German media that she loved mountain hiking at night. When shit gets real, feminism leaves everyone's bodies and men are held to account. Perhaps the weather was the curveball, but as an adult, it's on you to know what you're getting into and what's at stake. Unless you're a woman, then that responsibility falls on the nearest man.
Yeah, this story is so sad in so many levels. Like Nate said, if it would have been two men, nothing like this would have happened, and the guy would have given the necessary help to deal with losing his friend or brother, or in some cases his life partner. I think that's the correct term, right? But imagine if the roles would have been reversed. If only the lady would have made it down. Would that witch hunt actually happen? I don't think so. And this is why we men always say there's never going to be true equality, because things like that, it's a perfect example how true equality will never exist, but only because of feminism. Anyway, this is it for today. It's a really sad story. Leave a like, and if you made it so far, please subscribe so that I will know. And yeah, leave a comment and what you think about this story. And holy moly, I'm going to go take a shower so I can cry and nobody can see. See you next one. Bye.